Now then, people, good afternoon and welcome back to the Just Joe football show. And of course, welcome back, Ger. Everyone had thought you'd fallen out with me, Ger. They were like, where is he? Why is he not coming on? What's happened? How are you doing, bro?
Yeah, I was getting a bit of that. No, all good.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Just wedding stuff and yeah, but good.
Excited?
I am really looking forward to it. Last couple of bits and pieces. Collected suits yesterday, and my best man was getting fitted today, so I'm getting his last bits done today. So, and Jess is dropping stuff down to the venue. So yeah, it's all done and dusted. Now we got tomorrow to chill out, and then Friday we do the deed. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. You sound you're almost too calm, Ger. You're almost
I've
too
been
calm.
through it already once before me, and trust me,
Is that what it is?
that wasn't calm and wasn't stress free. This is much different. So yeah.
Oh, cool. I love that. Right, folks, what we're going to do on today's video, because, I mean, I can't lie to you, the content now, after that Bristol City game, it was a bit like, meh, let's quickly get on to the next game, please. I was begging for a midweek game, Joe. I was like, give me something. So, yeah, I took the day off yesterday, and like you say, it soon nosedives. So I was like, right, I need to get back onto work. Let me speak to Jake, because I haven't spoken to him for a while. And look, we're, 10 games in? It's almost... No, we're 10. Are we 10?
Quarter
11,
way
12.
through.
12. Wow. Yeah. Okay. 12 games in, quarter of the way through. So let's review it. And what I wanted to do, Joe, is just talk about each player individually. We don't have to spend loads on some. And what I've done is I've gone on FB Ref and had a look at those that have started. So I'll share the page and then we'll work our way up and we can say who the winners and losers are, if you like, who needs to do better, who's having a poor start. I can see the chat already popping off with some ideas. But first and foremost, before we get into the individuals, what have you made to Leeds United season so far?
I was hoping for better.
Okay, really?
But it's not on fire. We're thereabouts. I would like Leeds to be the team that takes the impetus and is the one that makes the moves to push away.
Being in Sunderland's position, in a sense.
Especially being 2 years into this, and some of the same issues we saw were there: the international breaks, the early kickoffs, some of the same stumbling blocks that, for me, are the manager. That's his job. They're the ones where he earns his stripes for me because they're the more difficult ones. And I think there's still some improvements that he needs to make there. Same with the substitutions. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but the timings just all seem predetermined. But outside of that, we're only 5 points off top. We're in a better position than last year. We're within touching distance. We know we haven't got into our stride just yet. We've players come back from injury, which timing is good, and we'll have players come back in January as well. So yeah, it's okay for me right now. I would give it about a C so far, a C plus maybe so far. Like, it's passable, but I would have liked to see more from us.
I think I'd be lying if, because when I think about when you've said that probably could do more, and I have to go along with you really. Although I'm content with where we're at right now, I did say front and centre, and obviously we're 5 points adrift, which shouldn't be the case if you're front and centre. So, I probably have to agree with you in that respect. Although, like you said, it's not on fire, and I'm quite calm about where we are. I'm still hopeful that Sunderland won't keep this up. But listen, the truth be told, I'm not even asked for first. I just want to go up. You know what I mean? Like, in the top two, though. No playoff stuff, just in the top two.
Well, I wanted to say, people will say, and it's been said, that we've played the best teams in the league, and that's why Bristol City are 10th in the division. And in the last 10 minutes of that game, as far as I'm concerned, Leeds made zero attempt to go and win that game. I felt that Leeds were happy with a 0-0 point away from home, and that's my problem. There are games that Leeds need to go and win. Bristol City was one of those, and we didn't. And so I accept the fact that we played the top sides, but so have some. Sunderland played some of them. Burnley played some of them. Results haven't all been comparable. You know, that's I expect 2 years into a project, good players brought in, whatever about their timing on the transfers. That was their strategy. They call it a strategy, so that's their decision, and they have to be judged accordingly. And I'm okay with where we are. I'm fine with it. Right now, it's okay. We're tipping along. It's very early still.
Of course.
But there's just little bits that I wanted to see better this year that I haven't seen improve. And this drop-off is still happening. The tempo change is still a problem. And it's a different team. I think it was 7 different players played at the weekend versus the similar timing to that time last year. And we're seeing similar issues. And if you're seeing similar things happening with different players, then chances are it's coming from the sideline.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair to say. Reese has come in with the super chat who says, I feel like Nontos stepped up this season, although frustrated, he only has 2 goals. Ramazani and Pascal Strout, best players so far for me. We'll do our best players, I guess, towards the end. But just on the Nonto stuff, I agree. I do feel that it's almost like he's aged. He's gone from a boy into a man this season, I feel, on the pitch. George, you know what I mean?
Yeah, very grown-up, mature performances from him. The waving his arms and rolling around the ground has stopped this year, and he's getting on with things and getting up and moving. Hasn't been his spectacular best, but I'm okay with that because he's doing a lot of the dirty work that he didn't do before. He's tracking back, he's getting involved, he's coming into the middle, looking to get involved in the game. All that's great stuff. That will all lead to him having his goal opportunities and assist moments. But for me right now, he's been phenomenal this season.
Yeah, he's been really good. Right, let's get stuck into it then, mate. So what do we reckon? Because I'm looking, right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to share it. I'll share the screen so people can see it. So we can see here, like, if I sort it in ascending order or descending, whichever that is. We don't really need to touch on Rutter nor Gelhardt. Let's just have a brief chat about Isaac Schmidt. 3 appearances off the bench, totaling 10 minutes worth of football. Does that surprise you, Joe? Would you have liked to see more of him? 10 minutes is not great.
He's a fullback. I've seen a lot of the chatter online and people like saying he must play. He must play. Yeah. We signed the guy from St. Gallen who nobody had seen play, and now he must play for us. He was not signed as the covering left back. That was actually said when we signed him. He was signed as Jaden Bogle's cover. So we'll see this weekend if he actually is Jaden Bogle's cover and if he starts there. I don't know what people are expecting from him and how him coming into that team will make Leeds score more goals and make Leeds more effective going forward. Sam Byram got stick at the weekend. I don't know how he got stick. He had a very good game. Right. He was in the team of the week. He's man of the match.
Do you know what? Just to jump on that, all the Staticos, all these people that battered Byram's performance, I can't lie to you. When I seen he made the team of the week, I was like, I wanted to get a big cigar out and be like, you idiots.
Being those people, because if you look at SofaScore, which I use, they use an algorithm, and he was still man of the match. So the statistics made him man of the match, and the statisticals were the ones that didn't like how he played. And it's like, well, your data is the one you always work off.
Funny.
Yeah, he was fine. I think Schmidt will get his moments. It's very early on in his time there. He'll want to get used to the style, the stadium, the atmosphere, everything like that. We saw Ilya Groove last year. He'll feed him in gradually, and then after Christmas you'll see a run. But if he does start on Saturday, he's got a chance. But I think Byron will start on the right on Saturday because I think he trusts Byron.
Yeah, same. I do just want to pick up on this as well, Yorkshireman. He's not junior Firpo, but he does offer stuff going forward, and I'll give you 2 points. He should have had 2 assists. Yeah. He should have had 2 assists. That's not on him. Both finishers should have been finished by the strikers. He also was close to scoring from his head. So to say that he offers nothing, yes, he's not junior Firpo. Yes, he doesn't get around his man, get to the byline and cut back. I hear you. But on another day, he has 2 assists. And I assume that's what you were going to say as well, Joe.
Everyone is saying Mateo Joseph should have scored the header, which means Sam Byram would have had an assist because it was his cross that came in on his left foot as well. And you're right. And then he had a second opportunity as well. And he nearly scored from a header as well, which, by the way, outside of the goal that Stroke scored, our last goal from a corner was Sam Byram against Hull City and Ellen Road. So he does offer more than people think going forward. And more importantly, because he's a defender, he's very good at defending. And Junior Firpo's not. And as long as Leeds have zeros, we're picking up points.
Yeah, no, I agree. And let me just say, folks, I'm not saying he's better than for anything like that. No. I just think the rate in which people were ready to go, it's him, he's rubbish. It's like, I don't think he is. And he wasn't, but he's just not junior, which I totally appreciate. Yeah, that is fair. So Pat, 5 off the bench, don't really need to touch on that. I do want to touch on Manor Solomon. He's had 5 appearances in total. Started 2 games, which are when he first came in, I think, against Hull. And then obviously the Burnley game where he made an error. He's got an assist to his name, but the rhetoric online is a lot of people feel he's a waste of money. A lot of people are even suggesting he could potentially go back in January. Leeds should send him back. I don't go along with it. I think, as we can see there, he's played 5 games. only 269 minutes, and has had an injury. I think people are ready to write him off a little bit too soon, Joe. What's your thoughts?
I agree. I listened to Don't Go to Bed during the week, and I heard Johnny Buchan suggesting. Now I know Johnny was just putting the question out there for people to discuss, but I just thought the timing was strange to even put the question out there. I wouldn't have been discussing cancelling a loan and sending a player back, because
it's out there though. It's out there online. It's crazy.
Put out there by BBC, and that's the problem. Like even suggesting that on that podcast gets people talking about that scenario, and then it's out there. It's same with Pirro or Joseph. Once someone leans into it where there's a big following and they have a huge audience, and people don't listen to the whole thing. They never do. They hear a clip and they'll go, BBC are saying we're going to send them back, and we're like, but that's not what he said. But what I would say with it is, what's to gain by doing it? Leeds have 3 open loan spaces in their squad right now. They can bring in 3 more players. They don't need to free up a space. Yeah, the wages he's on are probably pretty high, but if you cancel it and send them back, who are you bringing in at this point that's going to make an impact?
Do you know what I think a lot of it stems from as well, Joe, is because they sent Spence back, but there was a lot of outside stuff with Spence. This wasn't just he's not up to it. There was a lot of shit going on behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, and there's some certain people who've started to change the narrative around that one and say it was Leeds' fault and it was nothing to do with Spence, and all that's out there. That's bullshit. Spence was the problem and he was sent back. And I'm glad that Spence has sorted his shit out and is having a good time with Spurs, but that wasn't the same Spence that we had last season. We heard about all the issues, so I'm not taking the reevaluating his history, but I think that's there. It's the fact that when we cancelled the loan before, why did we not cancel this? Like, we knew we were getting with Manor Solomon. We knew the reason we got him was there's an injury history there. The injuries the players picking up for me are injuries that players pick up when they're coming back from being out for a long time, like lower back problem, a bit of a hamstring tweak, like nothing major, but you lose a couple of weeks. He said it himself that it's derailed his momentum. I thought he started very well for Leeds when he came in first. And Farkas talked about him being like a bottle of ketchup that you know at some point it's just all going to happen and fine. If you cancel his loan now and you send him back and you get somebody else in, no guarantee that's going to be a success. If you stay with him, get him ready, work on the fitness, get him up to speed, you could have the second half of the season with him going being a massive player for the club. And even if it's only from February to May, that's essentially like bringing in a player in January. It's going to give you a change in form at the right time for a run-in. So for me, I have no issue with him. He's fine. Not every player is going to be a 10 out of 10 every week. Most players are going to have bad games. They're going to have bad moments. Players coming back from injury are going to struggle. We're going to see that with Ampadu when he comes back as well. I don't think we see Gruev at all for the rest of the season. I think he's done for the season. So it's going to happen like that. You just got to be able to accept the fact that he's going to take a couple of weeks to get back into his speed. And in the meantime, you've got Willie Gnonto and Dan James. And you've got Ramazani coming back in a couple of weeks' time for the international break. And we're all right. We're okay.
Yeah.
And crazy.
He does have an assist to his name, which is
in 3 games.
Which is, you know, James has 1 goal, no assists. Largi Ramazani has 1 assist. Yes, he has 3 goals, but my point is, in the small cameos we've seen of him, he's already contributed. So I think, I guess I'll ask you this: by the end of the season, will the Manor Solomon loan signing be a success in your opinion?
I think so. Yeah.
I do as well. The only
thing that's going to stop that is a major injury to the player.
His injuries. Yeah, exactly. Right, moving on then. Dan James, 6 appearances, 4 starts. What I will say on this, I just want to... I've never been his biggest fan. I think technically at times he's not great, but then he did improve last season. It's just my opinion. And I saw the old Dan James in the game on Saturday when he has that run through, but I put a lot of that due to him coming back from injury. You know, we have to give him that and not having confidence and that stuff. But what I will say, I've learned the error of my ways, because while he's been injured, we've missed him massively, and I understand now that in an ideal scenario, he's playing week in, week out for Leeds United. I think he's great.
Yeah, I think I've always liked him.
Yeah.
I thought the club treated him pretty badly when the year before we got relegated, when we turfed him out to Fulham. Jesse's decision to get rid of wingers, because the kid had obviously decided, I'm gonna make it go over here. He'd bought a house in Leeds. His wife was expecting a baby, and then Jesse sends him to London on loan for a year. And you're like, dude, like, really? He's been excellent for us since he's come back in. I always say about Dan James, he's effective. He doesn't have to be skilled 1v1, and it's okay to just be fast. That's okay. because you've got a place to play in this team. And again, there's moments in games this year where I think when Farke gets the balance of this squad right and knows there's certain players in this team that should start certain games, and there's certain players in this team that should start other games, and they shouldn't start the same ones. If that makes sense. There will be games this year where Dan James coming off the bench to counter-attack will be perfect, and will give Leeds a massive advantage. Same with Solomon. But I think there's games this year where he will give Leeds the momentum going forward because of the pace. Him and Joe Rothwell particularly, because when they get the ball, the two of them like a little burst forward when they get the ball into space. I think Dan James offers you that. And again, even last season, said it all year, he's effective. He'll get assists. He'll get a couple of goals. He'll chip away at that all year. And look back at him last year, where he's 16 or 18 goal involvements last year, which was and he missed part of the season as well. And he's the kind of player, because he's so fast, is going to pick up injuries like calves and calf strains and adductors and that kind of stuff. But I've been happy with Dan James so far, and more to come.
100%, yeah, more to come. Definitely, we won't touch on Ethan. Started 7. We know how great Ethan Ampadu is. He's a massive miss, and it'll be. I guess I'll ask you this: when all our midfield 4 is fit, who plays?
Farke will put him straight in, no doubt.
So who plays alongside him?
Probably Tanaka.
Yeah, that would be, I think, my preference.
I would like to see the version of Ethan Ampadu just before he got injured, and not the version of Ethan Ampadu that started the season. I don't want to see him sitting on the back 4. I just don't want to see that anymore because it was dreadful. And then all of a sudden, obviously someone said to him, "You're too deep, get forward." And as soon as he moved higher up the park, he was exactly what we saw last year from him. He was phenomenal. But he can't be sitting on top of the 2 defenders. That's not okay. Not in this team.
It'd be interesting, won't it, to see what Farke does when they're all fit. When they're all fit and firing, it'll be interesting. Laji Ramazani up next. Played 8, started 6, 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 goal involvements. It's a toss-up between him and Tanaka for signing of the season, I think, mate. He's definitely a winner. I'd probably go with Ramazani just because we've seen more of him up to this point. But yeah, like, what a baller. And cheap as chips as well. He's great, isn't he?
Doing it on the cheap, Joe. Doing it on the cheap.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true. I deserve that.
we have been smart with our signings. This team that put these transfers together don't waste money. They get good deals. Tanaka, the same, 3 million quid. So the next time anyone moans about doing it on the cheap, Tanaka, Ramazani, Ampadu, stop talking.
I still will moan, by the way, in January.
That'll be in the moment, Joe. That'll be in the moment when something happens, you know. Ramazani's been excellent. He's probably ticked a lot of the boxes we lost with Somerville going, the 1v1 stuff, taking on players and duels. He's very, very good at it. I think he's got a snappier end product in Cree. It's not as predictable as Cree.
You know, he's really great in the air as well. He's really great in the air.
For a guy the size of him, he's not afraid to get stuck in, and I like that about him. Yeah, I think he's going to be a big, big player for us. I think he's an excellent sign. Excellent sign.
Yeah, definitely. Quicker he gets back, the better. Gruev, as we know, just Mr. Dependable. I think, same. 8 starts, obviously, like you said, he's probably going to be out for a while now. Tanaka, 5 starts. 9 games in total, obviously, a few off the bench, but my God, what a player. What a player.
Lots of sarcastic, salty comments that were made when we signed him first. People who were sarcastically calling him, generational talents, and he was this amazing player because they were taking the piss out of everyone online who was pretending to know they knew the player. Have all been proven to be wrong. He is actually a proper player, and he's been excellent. And for me, probably one of the best midfielders we've had in a very, very long time in the middle of the park. His use of the ball is clever. He can come in and tidy things up himself. And Lockie did a breakdown of the goal that we conceded against Watford and how Watford worked that goal. Was very clever by them. But how when Leeds got bogged down in corners and were pushed back, how Tanaka just walks in and goes, little triangle passes, 1, 2, 3, turns around, opens the ball out and Leeds are out of problem. Calm and relaxed. And he's all the influences I want. He's calm on the ball. He calms everyone else around him. He can increase the tempo with a pass when he needs to. Good vision. Mr. Farke, just let him play. Stop the reins of going backwards, but he can go. Let him go forwards. Let him go a little bit more. He'd be phenomenal. I think when Ampadu does come in and he's allowed to go forward a bit more, I think he could easily play in a number 10 role as well, with the kind of passes he looks to pick. So very tidy, excellent player.
Expect goals as well, maybe from them positions.
They're coming. Once he gets to go forward further, I would say. And he's had a little look. He had a look at on Saturday a couple of tries from distance. He'll have a shot, one or two in the next couple of weeks. But once he's allowed to go forward a bit more, I think you'll start seeing that. But he's been excellent.
Excellent.
Reliable.
Yeah, very, very reliable. It probably used sooner than Farke probably wanted to, because we didn't see Gruev till turn at year. And I think it'd have been something similar with Tanaka had them two been fit. and it's been
I think
forced
the
upon
rest of
him.
them as
But
well, Joe. I think
yeah,
Ramazani as well. I think knowing what he's like. This is we'll get into it, I'm sure, but this is the area of Marcus style that and this is not me calling for him to be sacked. I can not like elements of what he does and not want him fired. This is the risk averse stuff with Farke. Like, it's instead of just putting him in, like, player, you'll see it in January. A club will sign a new player. 2 days later, he's starting. Leeds will sign a player. 4 months later, he starts. Do you know what I mean?
It's true.
If you're buying these players, you got to trust them, put them in, and let them play. And circumstances have made Leeds push them in a bit earlier, and I think that's been justified in them playing because they've been very, very good.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah. No, agreed, mate. Right, okay. I mean, Bielsa was the same as well, wasn't he? He was frustrating for that. Yeah, it was. Have you caught all the have you listened to the Barry Douglas thing?
I'm getting up to speed with Barry Douglas. I listened to Stuart Dallas's stuff.
I've not listened to Dallas
was
yet.
the interesting piece.
Yeah. But the whole Barry Douglas thing, like, just how brutal Bielsa is behind the scenes. Do you know what I mean? Like,
we should have knew that, but interesting to see a player that didn't get on well with him talk about him. Because I thought it was interesting when Douglas talked about John Kevin Augustin, and he says in it that he could see in training he wasn't going to play. And I'm like, Barry, we could see that Bielsa wasn't going to play you. Yeah, like it was obviously the work rate from you wasn't there either. Yeah, because he didn't want to play. He'd rather play Johnny Alioski than play you as a left back. So I think Barry didn't do enough when he was at the club, and Bielsa identified that as well. I think he's probably a little bit salty about how things finished at Leeds. It was quite interesting. I can't wait to listen to the Dallas piece, to be fair, and I'll get round to that. He's so far been interesting, but he's talked about him as well, and Bamford's talking about him as well. So they're all starting to loosen the lips around Bielsa. Yeah, of course they will, man. Wait till they've actually left Leeds, like Bamford and that, it'll all come out. I would hope that whatever they go to say about him, because they will bring up the negative stuff as well, but I would hope that they follow the Rafinha line of things, where Rafinha said, I didn't always get on well with him, with bad moments, but I wouldn't be where I am without him. Yeah, and I hope that Dallas and Bamford and all can look back in their career and go, you probably wouldn't have got to the Premier League, and you may not have won a title, but you did under him. Yeah. I read something as well. Andy Lonergan was speaking on a podcast. Did you see that? And he had butter, and he said to him, what you doing eating that? You're too fat. And he just went, right, I'm out of here. Told Ben White he was overweight and not mobile enough. Yeah. Well, look at Ben White now, though. Look where he is now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and he was phenomenal at Leeds, wasn't he, Bielsa? Ben White, he was unreal. He was, yeah. Right, this is actually a Bielsa signing. Obviously, we didn't see the best of him under Marcelo, but under Farke, we certainly have. Admittedly, it's a drop down in division. He'll be back this weekend. Junior Firpo. I would argue, this is my take, this year, calendar year, Firpo's our best player. I thought Ampadu started the season best last season, but from the turn of the year, from January, was our most consistent performer for me personally. And he's continued that this season. So calendar year, 2024, Junior Firpo standout is the best player, in my opinion. First name on the team sheet when he's available. Yeah, I think I would agree with you. Yeah. And I also think more so than Ampadu, because he's had to come through nobody believing in him, all of the stick that he was getting. And to be very clear, based on what we saw, valid. He was right, mate. Anyone who says it weren't right at the time, it was, man. Anyone who says it wasn't right is a revisionist, and that's all they do. They put how they feel about a player now on the memories of then, and that's not the case. He's had Sean said it, phenomenal turnaround. What a redemption arc he's had. He's been brilliant for Leeds. I mean, you could argue he should be offered a new contract at this stage before January, but he'll leave Leeds on a high if he doesn't leave this season. He'll leave Leeds with people saying thanks to him, which is brilliant for him as well. Yeah. But he's been excellent going forward. Even defensively, he's improved. He still has the odd moment, but defensively, he's improved an awful lot. So very important player for us, and glad that he's still here. Same, Tim. Joe Rothwell, I feel like I need to speak on him. Started 4 games. Obviously, I said he was shit. Because I don't get it, is what you said. I don't get it. Yeah. This is true as well. I also didn't. I did say that a number of occasions as well. And I think, look, like those that said to me, we'll be better without Gruev in there because we'll have a more attacking midfielder. And I would just shut it down and say, well, Gruev's doing that. But until I see it, I can't compare. You know what I mean? And having seen Leeds United now with the midfield pairing, it is a little bit more expansive. Although I do feel that Saturday it reverted back to
previous games, and that's with a different midfield. Because I did make a point on my reaction saying if that was Ampadu and Gruev, we'd be going mental. So, we weren't quite at the races. But as a fourth option, third option, on a loan for the season, I mean, he's been great, hasn't he, in these last couple of games? Phenomenal, even.
Starting to see the player that got the move to the Premier League in the first place.
Yeah.
There's things about I really like. I've always felt Leeds lacked tempo changers in the team. So when Leeds, the drop off happens, because it always does. It can be, and Tony Drigo's touched on this as well. It's very hard to get going again once you've slowed down in the middle of a game. And I think having him in there, when he picks up the ball, if there's a half a gap of a yard in front of him, he sprints into it, and that can just change tempo straight away. So very important for that. He'll add more goals. I'd like to see him get a few more shots, but at the moment, again, it just feels like even though we're playing with two more attacking midfielders, Farkas still wants both of them to be more defensive minded and attack minded. But he's been fine for what he's cost us, what he's coming in to do. I think he's been really, really good. I've really enjoyed the partnership with him and Tanaka. I'd like to see more of that. I do feel that if Gilavogi gets up to speed quickly, he could be in that team for Rockwell quickly, because Farkas won't.
Do you reckon?
I don't think he likes that partnership. I think he's happy with how they're playing, but I think ideally
he wants a more defensive.
There. Which is strange, because if you look at Manchester City in the Premier League, their approach to defending is we're not going to defend much. So we put a defensive midfielder in one, probably play a midfielder centre back, and everyone else will go forward because we're not going to have to defend. Farkas got that possibility with this Leeds team, with the attacking quality we have. If Leeds are on the front foot on a regular basis and pushing forward, there's very little defending that needs to be done. It's only when we drop off and slow the tempo down do we find ourselves defending. So it kind of, for me, if Farkas was to let the two of them be a bit more expansive and a bit more forward going, I think actually might sort some of his worries about the back, because they won't have to defend. But he would rather be tight at the defense first and foremost before he'd even think about the attacking side. Yeah,
definitely. I hear you, but good loan signing. Good loan signing, I think, so far anyway. Like I say, we're only 12 games in. Next up, let's do them as a pair. Mateo Joseph and Joel Pirro. Mateo Joseph has 5 goal involvements, 2 goals, 3 assists. Pirro has 6 goal involvements, 4 goals, 2 assists. If you were to choose Saturday, who's your starting striker?
I would probably start Pirro for Saturday's game.
Really?
I talked about it this week, and I think the question we're asking is wrong. I think the question is Pirro or Joseph, and I don't think that's the question. I think the question should be, what style are we playing today?
Which opposition? Yeah.
Because for me, if you play Joel Pirro, you have got to create chances for him. You've got to get the ball in front of him. You could argue over the last 2 games, he's had very little in front of him to run onto or to get onto. There's been very few crosses coming into the box for him to get on the end of. So I think it doesn't play to his strengths. And I think he was starting to find his place as a number 9 with Ramazani on the wing and with Nantok. He was getting plenty of crosses. But I think in a game where there's opportunities for space and to break quickly and to get at people, I think Mateo Joseph offers you more in the build-up side of things. He will take a few more chances before he scores goals, but that's because he's a young player and he needs that time to get to grow with that. But it depends. For me, against Plymouth, there's probably going to be a bit more space, and I would probably go with Pirro to start that game. But I would like to see Joseph coming on with a half an hour at least to go.
Yeah, more.
You've got a good chance to just completely change that up, and he won't. It'll be 12 minutes left when he brings him on.
He should have changed it at half time, because it wasn't working for me, Ger, on Saturday.
And it was clear it wasn't going to.
Yeah, so just change it. Just change it.
It's unfair on both of them, Joe, because because they get stick, and I think the stick is directed at both of them, but I think it's directed at both of them unfairly. It's when Pirro is scoring, everything's in front of him. When he has to come short, his first touch is never great. He takes 2 or 3 touches and then it's gone. Mateo doesn't need that. His first touch is excellent. He can take it out with feet, lay it off, and he's gone. But again, you got to feed him probably a little bit more. He should have scored the weekend, but he's there to get the chance. As long as he's getting into those opportunities, he'll score them eventually. So it depends for me. I would go Pirro at the weekend, but when it gets a bit more low block, tighter, I would start Mateo in those games because I think he offers more.
If you want my honest opinion, I said Joseph will be the top scorer this season. I thought he'd have done better than he has up to this point, Joe. Am I being too... I get it now. Having seen it, I'm like, no, he's still young, but I genuinely thought he was just going to be on fire this season. Goals. And obviously that's not proved to be the case, and he's ended up losing his place in the side.
Yeah, but I think again with a sole striker and playing a 4-2-3-1, it's not all about goals for number 9. It's about, are you creating space? Are you creating moments for opportunities for players? Are you linking the play? Are you holding the ball up? So when Leeds are under pressure, a long ball goes out to Joseph. The job is hold that ball up so it takes the pressure off us. We can get out a little bit. He does that very well. Peru doesn't. When it's Leeds need to press players, he'll do that very, very well. Joel won't do it so much. If it's link up ball into feet and wingers running off of him, he'll get little ones left and right. I mean, he's got a couple of assists this year as well, so he is getting involved in goals. But probably not clinical finishing, but then none of them have been. So a lot of it has to go back to, well, does the style of play facilitate that goals to come from your number 9? Or does the style of play facilitate goals to come from other areas of the park because of your number 9, either dropping out and making space for someone to win behind him or linking the player, flicking it left and right and getting it away? There's those questions. So I think it's not always a case of goals with that system. If we were putting balls into the box on a regular basis, different conversation. Then it's, well, the balls and go. We're not. If you look at the shots that we took at the weekend, there's a couple in the box. The bulk of them were from outside the box.
Yeah.
4 on target out of 17 shots.
That's fair. Let's talk about Brenden now, because I remember we did a video actually when he first signed, and obviously I was like, this is going to be great, and you were a little bit more, hang on, no, I'm not ready to go all out yet. Let's be honest, and I was there. I was like, no, this is going to really work. He probably should have more, but he scored 3 goals, got 1 assist, and his off the ball work that he's getting through is amazing. Without him, we look a hell of a lot worse, I think, Ger, than we currently do off the ball anyways. So Brenden, success, right? Like if you compare it with, say, Voba or anybody, I know Voba's been injured, but Aaronson's been a standout success, hasn't he, on his return?
So much to the point that I would like him rested.
Yeah.
Because he looks knackered. We've ran him into the ground this year, and he's played a ton of football for the US as well, which is great because when he used to go play with the US, he'd sit on the bench and you might get 5 minutes. He might not play at all. Now Pochettino's bringing him in and playing him, which is great to see.
Because he's a pressing monster, isn't he? Though, and then
now,
he's a pressing monster, isn't he?
Oh, he is. We talked about this and we said we know he'll run around.
Yeah,
but he's done more than just run around for me. His pressing is very good. He knows the physicalness isn't there. It's better. But I like how he's using it this year. Like he's running into players and just bouncing off them and getting up and bouncing off them again and bouncing off them again.
He's not falling on the ground anymore, is he? And complaining. He's just up. No. Come on, let's go, you know?
He's forcing mistakes, which is the thing that goes under the radar, gets missed by people as well. Like in the corner flags, he'll run over to a player who's shielding a ball and he'll hit him. Now he won't. He just bounce off him, but he'll go again and again and again. And if you're a player trying to play out, that's really annoying. Like that gets, he's like a bee. He's just flapping around your head and he just won't go away. He'll get more goals. He's already beaten his best tally already this season. He'll get more goals. I think as a number 10, he suits how Leeds play. I think
there's only Pirro that's got more goals than him. You know what I mean?
And he's created a few of them for him. So there you go. Good partnership building there as well. So Brenden has had a very good return. He's listened to the criticism, which is good. A good self-awareness there. There's growth in the player. And there'll need to be more growth next year because he'll need to prove that he can do it when he step up, along with a couple of others. But yeah, he's been very, very good. And I was going to say, I hope I get branded a lover of Americans now because I'm saying something positive about him and not I hate Americans because I criticize them. So based on form, he's doing great right now and long may continue, but he's been excellent for us so far.
Yeah, he has. He's brilliant.
Don't burn him out though, like we did in the Premier League.
No, Jesse did that. And I think, look, it might not even just be a Jesse thing. Like you mentioned, Pochettino's playing. It could just be a manager thing because they know he will run for 90 minutes and not many will do that. You know what I mean? So they probably look at him and go, yeah, boom. Yeah. He'll do my donkey work, if you like. Next up, Nonto, we touched on him at the start.
Excellent.
Probably would have liked more goals, Ger. He's only got 2 thus far, but over the course of the season, you're looking at top player in this league, aren't you, really?
Player of the year so far for me, which is a massive turnaround from this time last year. Yeah. I think he's doing the right thing. Just keep being mature, keep being humble, keep doing the work. That's all you got to do, Willie, and you do that. People are going to love you. His name's been sang again around the stadium. Yeah. So, look, keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, there's definitely been an attitude adjustment there. I'm surprised because of all the players linked with exits away from Leeds, I think we all kind of went, not they'll go, and we're fine.
Oh, yeah, we did, yeah.
And during the playoff final, there was a couple of moments when he sat on the ground and wiggled his arms around where I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
He can go now because I'm tired of looking at this. But I think someone's got in his ear because he's getting up, he's getting on with things. Still has a bark at the referee every now and then and gets a yellow card for, but that's a youth thing. That's a young thing that, you know, you'll shout and scream at a referee. That'll stop in time. But outside of that, the rest of his game has been very mature, and his link-up play does need to get the head up a little bit more often in the final third and see balls earlier. There have been runs this season that he hangs on to a bit too long, and by the time he releases, the run is gone or Bogle's offside. And there's been opportunities to pull the ball back and square for tap-ins, and he hasn't taken them either. So little small things, but you want your attackers to be greedy because you want them scoring goals. So yeah, no issue for me right now. Small tweaks.
Yeah, just little tweaks. Next up, Jayden Bogle. I think when he initially came in, there was a lot of criticism. I was very critical, and I think a lot of it is probably taking on what Sheffield United fans had said and seen it as being gospel. But after about game 3, I don't think he's put a foot wrong, really, Jayden Bogle. I think he's been a really good signing, and he offers us more than what Archie did at right back, going the other way, and that gives us variation with the way that we play, right?
And he's got a goal already this season. Actually, technically on paper didn't get a goal last season. For me, he gets the goal against Leicester, but they didn't give it to him. Yeah. So technically on paper, he has that. He was always going to take time. We're very harsh on signings. We want them to hit the ground and be amazing immediately. And people forget how heavy that Leeds United shirt is and how much pressure comes with it. I always say there's Leeds United, Liverpool, Manchester United. Those 3 clubs particularly have broken players who can't step up to the level and can't wear that shirt because of the pressure and the history and everything that comes with it and expectation. You need to give players a bit of a chance to get used to their surroundings a little bit. Coming to Elland Road once a season and up in your game for your cup final is easy to do.
Yeah.
Being able to hold that with that pressure every second week is a lot trickier. So he's been very good, very consistent. The defensive work has got better. His attacking is very, very good. We could give him the ball far more often than we do because he's usually in acres of space. But yeah, no issue. I'm not even slightly worried about the fullback positions.
No, neither. Yeah, no, great. Centre-back partnership, Rodon and Strauch. 10s across the board for them both, I think.
Reasons we've got lots of zeros in our goals against columns this year. Yeah, they've been great. Rodon a little shaky start, but then you were hoping it's a new partnership. But I think he's back to what we saw them last year. He was phenomenal in the last couple of games. Strauch's a Rolls Royce for me right now.
2 goals as well, Strauch he has.
But he carries himself, Joe, like a captain. Everything about Strauch to me says leader, the way he talks to players on the pitch. I know we talked before about Eaton and Joe Rodon being the only 2 players on the pitch telling everyone else to calm down when it's very clear that you're the only 2 players and they're worked up right now.
Calm.
So, Strauch just comes across as calm. And again, me and Lockie, when we're talking about the breakdown, we're talking about an incident after the Watford game where Farke was on the pitch talking to him for about 10 minutes and they were working through something that I had seen, but Strauch was going to him to say, what's the story with this? Why are we doing this? Like, there was a conversation. So he wasn't happy with something. And that's great because that's what a captain should be able to do is go to the manager and say, look, this wasn't working particularly well. Can we talk about this? Or where do you want me? Or where do you want me to tell these lads to be in these situations? So he's been very, very good. And for me, he's carrying himself very much like a captain.
Yeah.
So, I think Ethan might have a job to hang on to that if he gets back because if Strauch
because Strauch had it before he what I mean, before he got injured and he took it. So that's probably a good shout. And would you be comfortable with them 2 in the Premier League? Yeah.
I'd like one more Premier League levels. I think if Leeds go, Joe, they need to do a spine upgrade.
Yeah.
I think they need a goalkeeper, a centre back, 8, maybe a 10, and maybe a 9.
Yeah,
I think the periphery is fine. I think there's a good base of a foundation of a squad, but I think if that squad goes into the Premier League, it probably that team probably struggles in the Premier League as it is without missing an upgrade in the middle of right down the middle of the team.
100%.
But outside that,
I agree. Great. Well, let's talk about the goalkeeper. He's the last person on the list. Along with Strauch, played the most minutes this season. It's not been a great season, has it? I think a lot of it will be on the Sunderland thing, but there's the Portsmouth goal, the first game of the season, first shot. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Looks a bit shaky sometimes distributing. Everything he was good at has just seemed to have gone from his game. I always worry when we have corners against us, especially when they sit. Like Bristol City did something really weird where they just stayed on the edge of our box. And I think you've got that all wrong. You need to get people on him because he can't come through. And then he'll always complain that it's a foul, and it's like, no, Medj, you've just flapped it, mate. It's just, yeah. If I could swap him now, I would. Like, which is mad. It is. I would though.
I defended him a lot last year, but
Same.
I thought last year the criticism last year was balanced out by big moments that he had last year, specifically 2 games against Leicester. He was massive. The 1v1 against Josh Sargent in the playoff.
That's a shout.
Massive. There's never been a question mark how good he is 1v1. The question has always been,
he's brilliant.
He's not a great shot stopper. He's not a great shot stopper from distance. He misses things sometimes. I think the biggest issue with Meslier is I don't think he's hit where the potential was directing him towards. We saw him first come in. We thought 19-year-old goalkeeper here. Jesus, in 5-6 years' time, where is he going to be? Because he was so good then. Like, he was so good. But it seems like he's kind of hit a threshold and just not broken through to the next stage of his career. I still think he's fine for the championship. Yes, he'll make mistakes. But look, I watched a lot of Premier League football this year, which I didn't watch an awful lot of last year. The amount of goalkeepers making mistakes is there's a lot of it. So it has to be somebody better. But I think for this year, he'll be fine. The defense in front of him will keep him safe. He'll make big moments that will be positive, and he'll make the odd mistake as well. I think they'll balance each other out. But I think if you go into the Premier League next season, we need to have an established top-end goalkeeper.
Do you think they will?
No.
No, neither do I either.
But I think they should.
I think they should.
I think you just remove the potential issue. Just don't mess around with that position anymore. Yeah. I would keep Meslier if I thought he was happy to be number 2 and keep him developing. And then 28, he's going to be back in that team. He's at his best years then. But I think he wants to be a first choice player. I think the clubs that we're looking at him, I think, might be more reluctant now than they were.
Definitely now. We just have to hope they're looking at like stats in terms of like goals conceded and go, we'll take a chance on him, because he won't concede a lot. But that's not down to him a lot of the time, a lot of it's thing. Right, we've done everyone. Let's finish up, Joe, with your biggest winner and your biggest loser this season. You can change the word loser if you prefer, if that's not ideal.
Winner, I think, is Tanaka.
Okay.
Just because of what he's done since he's come in, for 2 years of rhetoric around a sitting midfield and a defensive midfield and non-progressive sideways passing midfield, which was fine what it needed to be. But now we're having conversations around a midfielder who's creating stuff, who's excited and who's moving the ball quickly, who is breaking records. 175 completed passes in his first 3 games at the club was a record. So he's just come in and gone, this is mine now. I'm taking this, and I think he'll be a mainstay in that team. And he's probably one of the players right now that if we did go up, I think could do very well in the Premier League. Definitely. I think he's levels to him. I think he's been smashing. I think he's made other players look good. I think he's helped the defense out as well. I think he's calmed a few people down just in his nature. As I said, you don't have Ampadu pointing at Rodon and Rodon pointing at Ampadu, both telling each other to calm down when they're screaming at each other. You've got a guy in there everyone going, chill.
Yeah.
Give me the ball. I'll look after him. Give me the ball. So the biggest winner is him for me. I think he's been great. Mez, probably the biggest negative, but not from his perspective, because I don't think it's been the start that he probably would have wanted to have this year. That Sunderland thing will hang over him, and it's, for me, I feel people will say, well, it's hit a GPS boot tag or it's hit a sprinkler head or whatever it was. I'm like, I've always been told as a kid playing football, don't let the ball bounce in your box. Don't let it bounce. That was the issue for me. He doesn't need to let it bounce. He can come and collectively keeps going backwards and then it happens. So some of his decision making has caused his own problems. I think if he's more, and a lot of it's probably confidence, I think if he's a lot more assertive about what he wants to do, I think he goes and does it. But I think there's a level of doubt that's just in the back of the head, and that comes from confidence. So I think I'd like to see it improve with him. I'd like to see him push on and have big moments. I like Mez. I do like Mez. But I think at this point, there's been too many years of just question marks around certain incidents, and they're the same stuff over and over again. And at some point, you've got to go change it. Yeah,
agreed. I think I agree with you on the Meslier shout, biggest loser. I think, look, if we're still looking at a Solomon that hasn't played much football come January, February time, then it could easily end up being him as well, because we need him to, because he'll be on a big money and all that sort of stuff. I do think he'll come good, but I think it's fair to say that he might get a lot of stick if he doesn't hit the heights we expected. I think my biggest winner, I'm going to give it Brenden, just because he came in under a massive cloud and has those look great. And like I say, I think he'll get more goals, he'll get more assists, and as long as we don't run him into the ground, that's the main thing. But yeah, Joe, I think we'll finish it there. Nice 46 minutes spent. Nice afternoon with you, talking about Leeds United season so far. Maybe we'll review it in the halfway point and we'll go again. Have you got anything exciting coming up you want to let people know about?
Myself and Lockie are going to try and do the breakdown this week. So it's a new show that we have where we basically just do a full tactical breakdown of the game. We look at all the goals, and Lockie gets his tactics board out, and we kind of show people where the goals have come from and what's caused them. The Watford one was really good because Lockie does a fantastic, as he always does a fantastic job of pointing out, well, the goal actually wasn't Leeds' mistake. It's a very clever movement of players that isolates Pascal Stroke out on the left-hand side and brings him out there first and then isolates him, and how well they worked that. So you kind of see some finer detail of where the goal came from, and if different players playing up front, maybe the ball from the back line doesn't go up at all, and there's all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go into a lot more tactical, data-driven detail. We still have the review that we did last night with Jerry McNamee, the more conversational side of things. But myself, I'm a coach. Lockie's a coach and an analyst who wanted to go really into that kind of stuff. So that'll be out tomorrow at some point. And then there will be the new show, which is the warm-up on Saturday morning, 8 a.m. That just gives you all the head-to-head data you want to get before the game on Saturday afternoon. And they are all come up.
Cool. Great stuff, right? Make sure you check out Joe, Leeds United, The View. I know you will already have done. As for myself, Sean, we'll probably do a members chat this week. I'm trying to find a new place for it. It's too late, 10, 11. It ends up going till nearly midnight. I'm tired and all this jazz. Tomorrow... Oh, sorry. We do have the press conference back, White Rose Rivals, Friday preview, Saturday game day, and all that jazz. So, keep it locked at the Just Joe Football Show. Make sure you check out Joe, Leeds United, The View, and we will see you in a bit. Bye-bye.